All right, today. All right, so here by popular demand, here's a video describing barefoot shoes, what they're good for, why would you even consider wearing barefoot shoes, and what the heck are barefoot shoes. So I'm gonna try to make this very simple and straightforward, all right? Here it goes. So our feet, right, naturally, of course we're gonna talk about natural because everything here, the moon healing, is natural, holistic evolution. So naturally, our feet are supposed to be the foundation of our being. They are our root. It's our foundation. When we stand up, we walk around, it's our feet that holds us up. So being that this is the root, we have to pay a lot more attention to feet. We don't really pay much attention to it because we just put on regular shoes and just go about our business. But regular shoes, they hinder us from doing a lot of natural things that are meant for our body. So check this out. Multiple things that walking barefoot is beneficial for in the body. So for one, when you walk barefoot, your toes are naturally supposed to spread out, right? Right? So if you ever see a baby's feet, you see baby's feet, they're spread out. What this does is it gives us a wider base of support. So when we're walking, we have a wider balance. Regular shoes, what they do is that they come to a point. Most regular shoes, they come to some type of point. And what that does is that we call that the toe box. Where the toe goes in the shoes, that's the toe box. If the toe box is pointed, that makes our toes now shift inward. And that's why you see a lot of people, they end up getting bunions on the outside of their big toe, because their toe is protruding inward and that bone is now sticking out. Toes are naturally supposed to spread out. Again, look at baby's feet. They walk barefoot. All of us were walking barefoot at some point before we had to wear regular shoes, right? So the toe box, you have a wider toe box when you're walking barefoot. Another thing too is that we have muscles in our feet. I personally discovered this training with martial arts. We will run up the mountain and we will have to do it barefoot. What I realized is that when you walk barefoot on the earth, especially when you're doing things like climbing uphill, going up a mountain, your toes actually are supposed to grip the earth. Like we're supposed to have this ability to like grab the earth and like feel it under our toes, like you're picking up something. Our toes are supposed to have that strength. We have a lot of muscles in our hands and in our feet. So when walking barefoot, you actually get to use these muscles. You actually get to use these bones and these ligaments that's supposed to grab the earth. One major thing too I noticed with being barefoot is that there are acupuncture points on the bottom of the foot. It's called reflexology. And when you walk barefoot, you're getting natural points. Maybe you step on rocks or sticks or something like that. Not in a painful way, but in a way that stimulates these internal organ points that you have connected to the nodes on the bottom of your feet. So that's walking barefoot. Idealistically, try to be as barefoot as much as possible. The thing that now barefoot shoes come into play is because in our modern society, you can't necessarily just walk barefoot everywhere you go. You know, you're at work, you're at the gym, you're going to a grocery store. It's not really as socially acceptable to just walk around barefoot. So barefoot shoes come into play because they allow you to be as close to being barefoot as you possibly can while still having shoes on. So I'll show you the ones that I have on now. These are the Vibram 5 fingers barefoot shoes. And these are great because they have good traction at the bottom. They have the toe slot where you can put your toes in so you get that natural spread for your feet. And there's zero drop, which means that the heel is not lifted off the ground, which can cause a lot of damage to the knees and to the ankles if you do that for a long period of time. Again, barefoot shoes are just shoes that give you a barefoot feel while still wearing shoes. They have different styles. I'll attach a link to this. Zero shoes allows you to get different style of shoes. So you have barefoot shoes for hiking, you have barefoot shoes for going to work, like casual looks. You have barefoot shoes for every type of situation that you find yourself in. There's a barefoot shoe for that. And again, the idea is to get back to walking barefoot as much as possible. There's even a connection between the brain and your feet. So what regular shoes do is they limit a lot of these things, because it's like a cast. You know, if you wear a cast on your arm for a long period of time, when you take that cast off, your arm is now weaker than it was before. With regular shoes, you aren't always necessarily using your toes, and you're not using the muscles in your feet, and you're not building those connections throughout the body. So, I mean, regular shoes are okay, but every now and again, it's always good to try to be barefoot and walk barefoot as much as possible. So, these are just a few things about barefoot shoes. These guys are looking at me over here. So, yeah, but it's a beautiful thing. So if you have any more questions about barefoot shoes, let me know. But those are just some major things that I've noticed personally. The ability to strengthen the muscles in the feet, the ability to have a wider toe box so you can spread your toes out and limit the possibility of getting bunions and things like that. And just feeling very rooted and feeling grounded on the earth. Like, it makes a huge difference in how you move, how you walk. A lot of studies have been done that show that people who begin walking barefoot actually see less pain in their knees, less pain in the lower back, because it starts from the ground and works its way up. So if your foundation isn't set, then the rest of the chain moving upward is going to be off balance as well. So any questions, let me know. I will put a link to this video so you can see the different barefoot shoes. Zero Shoes is a good one if you're looking for like a budget, like something like you don't want to spend too much. Zero Shoes is great. Vivo Shoes I think they look the best out of all the barefoot shoe brands. If you're into style, I think Vivo Shoes look the best. I think these that I have on right now, these Vibram 5 toes, these are like best overall. They just have overall good traction, overall good feel, lightweight. You might have to wash these pretty often because they don't have the best circulation. Morel is a good one if you want to go on trails and stuff like that. So there's different brands. There's a barefoot shoe for everyone. So I'll put links to those below. And other than that, hey, feel free to ask me questions if you have any, all right? So, peace. Take care. Love. Get out of here, man. Also, too, if you're interested in any type of movement arts, so like martial arts, dancing, anything that deals with like just, movements, right? I'm gonna kind of show you. Deals with just, shifting the movements. If you're doing like a boxing or anything like that, shifting around, you definitely want to consider barefoot shoes because that access with the toes and being on your toes, you have more control of that when you're wearing barefoot shoes. Shifting around, grabbing something, working in a garden. If you just want more smooth movements, you have to train the muscles in your toes to get stronger. And that only really happens when you're wearing barefoot shoes, something that connects you closer to the earth. Which is another thing that benefits with barefoot shoes, is that the sole isn't thick. So it's a very thin sole, what that means is that you're closer to the earth. So you can feel, you can shift around, your toes are grabbing, your toes are strong, and you're moving, agile. So if you want to increase your agility, if you're an athlete, you play sports, any exercise or anything you do that requires movement and you want to be more agile, definitely you want to wear barefoot shoes because you're training those muscles in the feet. What else, man? If you man, where I grew up in Washington DC, we have a music called go-go music, and go-go music is all about bouncing on your toes, being on your toes. That's a very ancestral thing. Ancient people, when we played the drums, when we really got into our rhythm, we got into our vibration, it was always about being on your toes. Look at the Native Americans, on your toes. Watch that movie Avatar, with the blue people. yeah, phone died and I had to switch phones. But in that movie Avatar, my favorite character, Sute, when you see him, if you see his stance, he's on his toes, you know, and he has such a noble character about him, but like dang, let me show you here. Show you what I'm talking about. His stance is like he's always on his toes and he's like ready to go. He has a spring, you know, you can spring up, right? So he always has a stance about it. You get into those cultures of people who are barefoot the majority of the time, you see them and they have a very strong stance. They have a very strong posture. And that good posture is coming from the ground up, right? So you could talk about the rhythm, being in tune with the earth, being in tune with yourself, knowing how you step, knowing how you move, like your own movement, your own swag. That definitely comes from the ground up. And we have to feel the earth. We have to feel what we're walking on. We have to, you know, there's a connection even between the feet and the brain. It's all connected, but the feet is the root. That's the foundation. And we're naturally, again, it comes back to what's natural for us. It's natural for us to be on the earth, 10 toes down. Literally, there's a certain rhythm, there's a certain step that comes with that. And when we wear regular shoes, whether it be tennis shoes, cleats, boots, whatever they are, high heels even, you know, we're disconnecting ourselves from that natural step and that natural movement. Barefoot shoes, man, they're a beautiful thing altogether. Again, they allow you to still wear shoes, but still get that barefoot feel. And you just have you have that freedom, you know, because regular shoes, they close the toes in, the sole is really thick, the heel is lifted off the ground. It's just become normal, you know. But just because something is normal doesn't mean that it's natural. So a lot of things that we do these days, they're normalized, and it's normal to just do things because it's normal. But when you check what's really natural and the best, that's the healthiest for the body, it's probably not, it's probably abnormal. And barefoot shoes are definitely not the norm. That's why we're bringing forth this barefoot revolution. So if you check the link in the bio, or you go on to moonhealing.com, you will see the Barefoot Revolution link, and that will link you to the Zero Shoes website, which is a good barefoot brand. I have their sandals. Absolutely love the sandals. They're probably my favorite barefoot apparel. My favorite barefoot shoe right now are actually a pair of those sandals. So yeah, I just wanted to come out and give this video because a lot of people said that they were interested in barefoot shoes and wanted to know more about them. So yeah, check it out.